Hello everyone and welcome to another incredible game, also from the SuperUnited Rapid tournament currently being played in Zagreb, Croatia. It is Viswanathan Anand versus Rapport, and for those of you who haven't been following the previous games, this is the lineup for the tournament. So Jani Pomniši, Alireza, Firužja, Fabiano Caruana, Jan Šištov Duda, Richard Rapport, Magnus Carlsen, Ivan Šarić, Gukesh, Konstantin Lupulescu and Viswanathan Anand. And Anand already played 2 games. This is a game from round 3. He has a draw against Alireza, 1 win against Lupulescu, and this is his game against Rapport. So let's check it out, and then we are going to discuss everything that's happening in the tournament. But also here I've prepared this for you to enjoy. Look at this beautiful photo by Lennart Otis. This is the world champion is not even in this photo. These are all 3 former world world classical champions: Magnus Carlsen, Viswanathan Anand, and Garry Kasparov. They defended their world chess championship titles together 15 times. So that is absolutely incredible. Let's enjoy the photo for a little bit, and now let's check out the game. So Anand has the white pieces, and he opens with pawn to e4. He knows that, of course, Rapport was being second in his World Chess Championship match against Jani Pomniši, so he has to be careful about what he plays. He knows that, if anything, maybe Rapport is even the most well-versed in theory of all the players here. So we have pawn to c5, Rapport goes for the Sicilian defense, knight to f3, knight to c6, and now bishop to b5. Truly, people go for c3 and bishop to b5. Very rarely will we see the open d4 Sicilian. It's just too aggressive. Black has too many options there. So here pawn to e6, and now the incredibly rare continuation pawn to c3. Here the standard moves are castles and bishop captures on c6, but Anand obviously trying to be very tricky. He plays pawn to c3. So still a line of the Nimzovich-Rossolimo attack, but very much a sideline. We have pawn to d5, and this is the reason. E captures on d5, queen captures on d5. Now can be played as the c3 square has been taken by the c3 pawn now, and you cannot kick away the queen and gain a free tempo with knight to c3. So okay, castles by Anand. We have bishop to d7 and the rook to e1. Knight to f6, and now there is a game where knight to a3 was played. Kind of makes sense. You want to play knight a3, maybe put the knight on c2, put the knight on e3, kick away the queen. But here we have bishop back all the way to f1, and it is now as of move 8 that we have a completely new game. So obviously Anand has something very tricky in mind. We have bishop to d6, Richard continues development, and pawn to d4. We have castles, and now h3. C captures on d4, C captures, and knight to e7. The knight can now be shifted over to g6 or to f5 if needed, but also the bishop can be put to this diagonal to put pressure on the white king, but as you've already seen, the bishop is on f1, so Anand doesn't have to worry about any checkmate threats happening along this diagonal. Knight to c3, and this is already a second game, not in a row, but in the last few videos where we have the bishop on f1, just doing such a remarkable job of everything. We have queen to a5, and now knight to e5 by Anand. We have bishop to c6. Here, if you try something like knight to c6, it is very dangerous. Yes, of course, you would enjoy if knight captures, bishop captures, but imagine something like bishop g5 now threatening to mess up the pawn structure in front of the king. Let's say bishop captures d, captures knight d5, and now the very annoying queen g4 with some nasty threats. You don't want this against a player like Anand. So bishop to c6 instead, and now bishop to f4. We have bishop to b4, and Anand just nicely plays pawn to a3. He doesn't mind giving up the c3 pawn, as he will gain a lot of activity for it, but Rapport decides against capturing it. We have bishop captures, pawn captures, and now he just ignores it. The reason is, if queen captures on c3 after knight to c4, look at this queen. The knight takes away the a5 square, and just looking at rook to e3, I mean, you don't want to play this. It is possible to play it, of course, let's say knight to g6, but you have to know the position. You attack the bishop, and now if rook to e3, you attack the white queen. Okay, this keeps black in the game, but if you don't know it, you don't want to play it. So immediately bishop to a4 attacks Anand's queen. Queen to f3 now puts pressure on the pawn on b7, and here you might expect something like queen to d5, offering a queen trade. or even just putting a knight on d5, but Rapport plays rook 8 to c8, and he offers the b7 pawn. So can Anand capture this? Yes, he can. He plays queen captures on b7, now comes knight e to d5, and now bishop back to d2, guarding the c3 pawn. And while you could capture it again, you don't want to have this on your hands. Let's say queen b2 attacks the knight here, and if knight f to d5, there's even knight to c4. Now attacks the queen, and next move you capture the knight. Okay, it's not lost or anything. You can still play with something like queen a6, bishop captures on c3, and rook captures on c4. But it's not great. Okay, bishop captures, queen captures, bishop b4. You're up the exchange, but still not maybe the best option. So instead, rook to b3, attacking the queen. We have knight to c4, very important position. So going after the queen on a5, queen back to d8, and now queen captures on a7. Anand gobbles up another pawn. Rook to a8. We have queen to b7, and now rook to b8. But now queen to a6, and now of course rook to a8 will be met with queen to d6. So Rapport tries bishop to b5, still queen to d6 by Anand. We have queen to c8, and now queen to c5. This is the correct choice of moves, because if you just move the knight, then you can capture on f1, you can put the rook on b2, it's going to be incredibly active, the bishop here will be undefended. So queen to c5 is the best move. It does double your pawns, but Anand is confident that he can make it work. So queen captures on c5, d captures, and now bishop captures on c4. We have bishop captures and rook f to c8, and now okay, Rapport is down material, but the two pawns are on the c file. If he can pick off at least one of them, he should have decent drawing chances. But still, that's a lot of work. We have bishop to f1. Anand immediately offers one, but there's always time to capture it. Rapport goes for activity first. We have rook to b2, bishop to c1, as the bishop is undefended. This is the best move. Rook to c2, now going for after both of the pawns, and now pawn to c4. The bishop again doing incredible work from f1, from the starting square. That's how good this square is for the bishop. We have knight to e7, and now pawn to a4. Now Anand starts pushing his passed a pawn up the board. Knight to c6, we have pawn to a5, and now knight to d7, going after the c5 pawn. So bishop to e3, defending. Now both of the bishops nicely defending the two pawns, and now knight d to e5. We have rook to a4, adding more defense to the c4 pawn, and rook to a8, now putting pressure on the a5 pawn, but Anand just advances it. Pawn to a6. We have rook to b2. Now we'll try to trade off rooks with rook to b4, but now rook to d1. We have rook to b4, and just rook d to a1. Of course, Anand wants to keep his rook on a4, rook to b3, and now pawn to g4, preparing to fianchetto the bishop now with bishop to g2. Very interesting. Fianchettoing the bishop on move 39. That's classy. We have bishop pawn to g5 and bishop to g2. Now the rook obviously cannot remain on a8, but it's hard to find moves here. We have pawn to h6, now pawn to a7. As the a7 pawn is nicely guarded by the rooks. We have rook to b7, now tripling up the attack against this a7 pawn. But now there are a lot of moves that are winning for Anand, and he chooses a very direct one. He plays pawn to f4, and he was in this position on move 41 that Rapport resigned the game, as there really is nothing more to be done here. So there we have it. There was no pause the video or anything moment because Rapport tried going too aggressive against Anand. He started sacrificing pawns, and okay, Anand is one of the few players in the world where that will not actually work for you. It doesn't matter how strong you are, doesn't matter if you're a Rapport, doesn't matter if you've helped Ding prepare for the World Chess Championship match. Anand is just too strong. So the point is, here he resigned because now that this diagonal opened up, we've reached a position almost from the thumbnail. Anand unleashes his bishop pair from hell, and now as the knight is hanging, you can't really move the knight because this knight hangs, so you're going to have to capture, but now you have the same problem. How are you dealing with this? And after you start capturing, let's say rook captures on a7, you can just trade everything up. Captures, captures, and captures. And now the problem is both of your knights are still hanging, and you have to recapture the rook. Otherwise, you're just down too much material. So let's say rook captures here, bishop captures here, and you have two bishops against the knight. You're up a full piece, of course, completely winning. So Rapport saw this, and after pawn to f4, he resigned the game. But also, he burned an incredible amount of time throughout the entire game. Anand finished the game with some 7 minutes on the clock. Rapport was down to a few seconds. So, I mean, that's just how complicated the position was. Full of potential. You know, Anand could do this, he could do that. It was merely a matter of time before the bishop pair from hell comes to life. And for those of you who are now interested in the standings, here are the standings. Anand is leading after 3 days of rapid in Croatia with 2 wins and 1 draw, followed by Magnus Carlsen and Jan Duda and Richard Rapport with 4 points, Fabiano Caruana, Ivan Šarić with 3 points, Alireza Firouzja, Jani Pomniši and Gukash with 2 points, and in last place Constantin Lupulescu with 1 point. He only got 1 draw. So yeah, very exciting start of the day. We'll see what happens. Anand says that he is very happy with his play on the first day, and that he will see if he will be able to continue playing at such a level. But I mean, okay, it's probably gonna come down to his game against Magnus, but he's just playing incredible chess, and looking forward to seeing what he does next. This was just, I mean, Rapport tried a funky line. Anand said nope, not today, and that was pretty much it. That's the story of this game. So yeah, once again, really hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank James Eugene Cashman, John Austin, Notcom Plays, BulletChessThriller.com, and Paul Miller for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions, but mostly covering this tournament until it finishes. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.